Hey, everybody, it's Perch. Let's go straight to the mail. Uh, it's always, I always have this image in my head of like a giant, 1950s sack of letters. And like I'm reaching into this big bag of letters and I'm just like randomly pulling one out as opposed to going into Gmail and kind of trying to filter through 800 spam messages and, people try like, will you sponsor NordVPN on your channel? And other nonsense to actually get to, to real content. I swear, by the way, some of you I know have done jokes where you're like, will you sponsor? And it's like, if I can see in the little preview text, like, we would like to offer you, it's like delete immediately. I, I know I've thrown away some legitimate mails from it. So I apologize to that. Anyway, but let's go right to this imaginary mailbag and read this mail. It says, dear Perchington, I messed that up. Dear Perchington, Sir Perch, I'm adding the sir. Dear Perchington. Okay. I'm a very fancy British rom-com drama-ish thing now, I guess, set in the 1800s. Dear Perchington, given the overwhelming controversy over Daniel Warren Johnson and his Batman killing ICE commission, is it time for comic companies to start putting their foot down on what commissions can be done? After all, these comic creators are using material from the publisher. If you think about it, it's a little strange that an artist can draw Superman and make money off of it without having to pay DC. It is DC's character after all. Shouldn't the comic publisher have more control over what commission gets done? If not, pardon me. If not, you encountered the situation that happened with Daniel Warren Johnson and Absolute Batman, where you now have a DC character owned by DC being drawn in a hateful manner, which isolates half the country. I don't know if it isolated half the country, but anyway, Daniel Warren Johnson gets all the money, DC gets all the blowback and the protests. This doesn't seem fair. Could something like this work? I know that artists are freelancers, but still, the IP that they are using to make money for themselves does not belong to them. What do you think? Thanks as always for your show. Curious to get your answer. All right. No. I, that's my answer. No. I mean, technically, look, yes, technically by law, you've got a copyrighted character. You've got somebody using that copyrighted character to make money for themselves. Yes, that is all true. There are fair usage guidelines and other things. But if you, hypothetically, if you're a comic creator, well, not hypothetically, they do this all the time. If you're a comic creator and artist and you go to a comic convention and you put up banners and other things using DC or Marvel IP and you're drawing stuff there and you're collecting money, but you're promoting basically yourself next to these characters. If they wanted to, the publishers could do a cease and desist and make you stop doing that. But to do so would be it would be disastrous for them. Because basically what would happen is you would get a lot of artists who would just refuse doing work for that company. The companies are not paying like bars of gold. The rates are already pretty low. And, the publishers know this. And so they don't choose to enforce their IP because one, just the legal hassle of doing it would cost them money. The people they'd be suing, I mean, they'd be getting nothing. Like, I have no idea what Daniel Warren Johnson got for the ICE commission. So I've talked to a couple people. I've heard everything from $1,000 to $5,000. I who knows? Could be less. Could be probably not more. But anyway, in that realm. So you're DC. You're going to go after this guy. You're going to isolate him. You're going to irritate him to the point that he won't do work for your company anymore. You're going to irritate all of his friends and other artists who watch you doing that and say, I don't want that to be me. And they stop working for you. And the damages you're recovering are what exactly? Like you're going to recover $5,000. Your legal fees just to threaten him will be more than that. So it just financially, it doesn't make sense. It also like, here's a funny thing. I heard a couple people's, I listened to like 3 or 4 videos about the the Daniel Warren Johnson thing, and I haven't heard this brought up anywhere. But I have to say, I get that we're a highly divided country right now. I get that the political environment is everybody's very worked up about that. But um, you can actually go listen to an interview with Sean Gordon Murphy like 4 or 5 years ago on this channel, and he's talking about some of the weird things that he got asked to draw at a convention. Now, this is one of the things whenever I go to a convention and have a chance to talk to artists, although I don't think I've ever asked Ben Templesmith this, and given his art style, I imagine he would have some wild answers. Damn it, I need to. I just missed an opportunity to actually to see him. He was in town, and I wanted to. The schedules didn't line up, so I'm disappointed by that. But anyway, artists who do commissions are asked to draw all kinds of insane things, and Batman choking ice is probably one of the more benign things. Now, it again in our highly political society, that one is maybe people are more worked up about that, but the amount of artists that have been asked to draw feet, that have been asked to draw things like the Thing, fisting the Invisible Woman. I mean, I'm not making this stuff up. The amount of deviant requests, and many artists are like, "No, I'm not going to draw that." But the amount of insane things that artists are asked to draw on commission are pretty crazy. And I do know, and I don't think they want them named, but I know at least two high profile artists. High profile meaning if I said their names, they would be in the top 10 of, artists over the last, 2 decades in your mind, who have drawn, let's call it, let's throw it a Japanese term, hentai, have drawn, one artist admitted that he drew Mr. Fantastic using his stretchy powers to penetrate the Invisible Woman in multiple ways. And another artist who drew Sonic the Hedgehog having his way with Emma Frost. And again, these are high profile artists, but in both cases, like they were offered like 20 grand to do it, and it's like, yeah, okay, I'm going to draw your pervy picture. So this happens a lot. But the requests happen a lot. How often the artists respond to the requests and do it, I don't know. But the a lot of the commentary I'm hearing is like, can you believe that a artist was a political activist and drew this picture of Batman and got involved in politics? And it's like, yeah, I can believe it because I've got Sonic reaming the White Queen like a couple years ago. Yeah, I can believe it. Of course, I can believe it. Um, this is what let's not pretend this isn't what goes on with commissions. This is what commissions are like. They're often fantasy casting, fantasy images that get drawn by artists for money. So again, can the publishers technically go after it and try and mess with it? They can, but it would not be worth it. It would be nothing but diminishing returns. Second, like I think there's a lot of people who are suddenly acting like this is like somehow the worst thing they've ever heard of, and it's like I I'll tell you, the artist who did the Sonic picture showed me a photo of the Sonic picture, and there are worse things. I'm just gonna throw that out there. That picture is horrifying, and sometimes when I close my eyes, I can still see it, and I wish I couldn't. But the third overall, is this the world you want to live in? I guess. I look, I don't think, and I said it in another video. If I'm Daniel Warren Johnson and I'm being asked to do a picture of an ice person getting throat hugged or whatever, apparently it wasn't murder. It was just a sleeper hold, but that's fine. Whatever. If I was asked to do that, I wouldn't do it because I would just know the headache. That image would get out. I mean, he posted himself, and look, he's what I think he lives in Oregon. Like he clearly, I'm sure believes, or is not a fan of ice. But it's just the headache of all the nonsense you would get off that wouldn't be worth what the money I would get. It just I would do that kind of calculation, but that's me. And your mileage may vary, his mileage may vary, and so for me, I think that's the problem. But it, that's This stuff exists, and I don't want to live in a world where we're trying to eliminate this stuff from existing. Now, it's also a free society. You are also a customer that has a wallet and money you can spend, and you can go, "That's not for me. I'm offended by this. I don't like it. I'm not going to spend my money." That's good too. I mean, that I heartily defend your right to say, "No more Daniel Warren Johnson for me." S- Cool. Again, no problem. And I don't really need to know your reason. Nobody does. And I've said this before in videos too. You can decide to stop buying something for any reason you want. You can go to a con and the artist has bad breath, and you're like, I'm done. No problem. I mean, you don't like the shirt they're wearing, you don't like the hat, you don't like their politics, you don't like the sound of their voice. It really doesn't matter. It's your wallet and your cash. You get to spend it how you like for whatever reasons you like. Good reasons, bad reasons, reasons only known to you. It doesn't matter. It's your money. I don't think you should be forced to buy things. I don't think the artist should be forced to not draw things. I think that's the better world we want to live in. I think you start putting rules in place, it gets to a real dumb it gets to dumb too fast. And I think it's kind of like with politics right now. We had a party kind of use the courts to kind of punish their enemies, and then the other party gets in power, and that party uses the courts to punish their enemies, and this is going to go on forever now, because it's unlikely that both sides are going to come to the table and be like, you know what, we went too far. Let's just do it the old fashioned way. Let's stop doing this bullshit to each other. It doesn't lead anywhere good. I think if the publishers suddenly got involved in wanting to approve the commissions, you would see artists make less money. You'd see artists get more disinterested in comics. You would see a flood of crap art because you would have, it just artists wouldn't want to put up with bullshit of having their art approved or, have somebody watching over their shoulder. You would see a flood of more artists overseas just do work on demand. It would herald in just a lousy. It wouldn't lead anywhere good. Okay, I like Bill Sienkiewicz. I liked him back when he did New Mutants, way, way back in the day. I like his covers. I think he has a sketchy, just I like his style a lot. Bill Sienkiewicz is liberal by a mile, for sure. He did a very kind of I don't remember what, like Trump, like very anti-Trump art. I look at that and I'm like, this isn't for me. I'm not going to buy the anti-Trump art. Am I going to go and throw away all his comics? No, I'm not going to do it. But this is a call I get to make with my wallet. I do have a friend who sold off his Bill Sienkiewicz stuff. And I was thinking to myself, this is awesome because I'm going to buy much of it and he's trying to dump it. So I'm getting it on the cheap. So I was thrilled with his decision. It was great. But in general, that was his call. And but I just, I am not in favor. And I think it would be hard to do logistically. And I think it would be damaging to comics if you suddenly wanted to kind of police what commissions could get done. I don't think that's a road you want to go down. How about you? Let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe, of course, or cancel me. That's fine. You can't cancel me, but you can stop paying attention to me. That's that's the best advice I give you all day. Thanks for listening.